Los Angeles continues to burn. Donald Trump will be sentenced today, and now is your chance to own a pricey piece of TV history. That's some of what we'll get to on the 7 from the Washington Post. I'm Hannah Jewell. It's Friday, January 10th. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. Number 1. The Los Angeles wildfires are raging for a 4th day. The death toll from the disaster in greater Los Angeles now stands at 10 people, but authorities said they expect that number to rise. 180,000 people have had to evacuate 5 active blazes, and 1 person is in custody on suspicion of arson related to the Kenneth fire. That fire started last night by Hidden Hills, crossing over Los Angeles and Ventura counties. Firefighters have managed to halt the progress of that blaze, but they've been frustrated by the lack of water in some LA fire hydrants. In Pacific Palisades, hydrants failed after 3 tanks, each holding 1 million gallons of water, went dry within a span of 12 hours, and resources have been stretched thin. Los Angeles Fire Department Captain Robert Hawkins talked about being called to work on Tuesday evening.
When I got here, there were no fire engines for me, for any of us. All the firefighters were already on the fire, actively engaged. The wind was blowing pretty significantly.
Thousands of buildings have been destroyed. Many celebrities are among those who have lost their homes, including Paris Hilton and Billy Crystal. This Is Us star Milo Ventimiglia spoke to CBS Evening News about losing his home.
You start thinking about, man, it hits you so quick. You start thinking about all the memories in different parts of the house and whatnot, and then you see your neighbors' houses and everything kind of around, and your heart just breaks.
These fires are already on track to be the costliest in U.S. history. Donald Trump will be sentenced today in his New York hush money case. That's number 2. It seems like years ago now, but in May, Trump was convicted on 34 counts of falsifying business records. It was related to a payment made to adult film actress Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 presidential election. Today, Trump will finally learn his fate. The sentencing is going ahead after the Supreme Court ruled yesterday that there was no grounds to delay it. And it's going to be a singular moment in U.S. history. The judge has already said that Trump won't face jail time or probation. But whatever the sentence, it will formalize Trump's status as the first former president or president-elect convicted of criminal wrongdoing. You can find live updates from this morning's sentencing in our newsletter. As usual, just follow the link in our show notes. Number 3. Jimmy Carter was honored with a state funeral in Washington, D.C. The 39th president died at the age of 100 last month. Yesterday, he was eulogized by President Joe Biden and others at Washington National Cathedral.
A white Southern Baptist who led on civil rights. A decorated Navy veteran who brokered peace. A brilliant nuclear engineer who led on nuclear nonproliferation. A hardworking farmer who championed conservation and clean energy.
It was a historic ceremony with many dignitaries and celebrities in attendance, but all eyes were on the 4 former presidents, and they had some fascinating interactions. Barack Obama was seated next to Trump, who leaned in to chat with him and even got a laugh. If only there had been a little cathedral mouse nearby who could tell us what they said. After the ceremony, Carter's casket was returned to his beloved hometown of Plains, Georgia. His burial place is beside a willow tree at his family residence alongside his wife of 77 years, Rosalind. The Supreme Court will hear arguments today about a potential TikTok ban. That's number 4. Congress passed a law in April that would effectively ban TikTok in the U.S. unless it is sold by its China-based parent company, ByteDance. The ban is set to go in effect in just over a week, on January 19th. But there's still a chance that the video sharing app will be spared. Today, TikTok will lay out its challenge to the law in front of Supreme Court justices. Its argument is that the law is a violation of free speech protections. A ruling could come quickly. Justices could decide soon after oral arguments whether to temporarily put the measure on hold or allow it to take effect as planned. Number 5. The planet-cooling climate pattern known as La Niña has arrived. Yesterday, scientists declared the return of La Niña, which is the inverse of El Niño. It tends to lower average global temperatures, while also encouraging weather extremes in some places. That could include intense Atlantic hurricanes, drought in East Africa, and floods in Indonesia. And it doesn't mean that 2025 will be much cooler. La Niña's impact won't be enough to stop an alarming surge in global warmth. This morning, scientists in Europe confirmed that 2024 was the hottest year on record. And it was the first to surpass a dangerous warming threshold of 1.5 degrees Celsius or 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit. Notre Dame earned a spot in college football's national championship game. That's number 6. It was an Orange Bowl thriller last night. Down at halftime, the Fighting Irish scraped past Penn State 27-24. That win in the college football playoff semifinal earned Notre Dame a spot in the national title game. They'll be facing either Ohio State or Texas. That semifinal takes place tonight on ESPN at 7:30 Eastern. Then the championship game will be played January 20th in Atlanta. If that's not enough football for you, over in the NFL, the first round of the playoffs kicks off this weekend. You can find a link to the full schedule of games in our newsletter. And at number 7, Walter White's house from Breaking Bad is up for sale. Homes in this neighborhood of Albuquerque usually go for around $350,000. But this one is being listed for $4 million. That's the price the owners think they can get for their TV-famous house. Its exterior was used as the home base for Bryan Cranston's iconic leading role. If you are tempted to follow in Walter White's footsteps, in this regard at least, you should be prepared for a few downsides. The current owners have had to deal with a lot of tourists. Some fans of the show have even thrown pizza on their roof. They were recreating a famous scene in which White storms out of his house and hurls a large pepperoni pizza in frustration, only for the pie to land on the pitched roof. Living under pizza bombardment doesn't sound ideal to me, but if you're a Breaking Bad superfan with $4 million to spare, I wish you luck. That's the show for this week. The assistant producer of The Seven is Taylor White. The staff writers are me and Jamie Ross. John Taylor is our editor. Additional editing by Christina Quinn. Copy editing is by Melissa No and Thomas Haliba. Mixing and sound design is by Jim Briggs and Justin Garish. Our theme music is by Edith Mudge. Ronita Jablonski is our director of audio. I'm Hannah Jewell. Thanks for listening and have a great weekend. I'll meet you back here on Monday.